So how do you start building self-empathy? It takes work. It takes daily work. And where you start, step one, is self-reflection. When you do self-reflection, you need to be sure you go about it as critical, not caring, right? You're like a computer. You're taking in data. You're understanding what you're doing. You're actually saying, I am doing this. Oh, when this person triggers me, I tend to respond like this. Oh, well, yeah, I did this and it left me feeling kind of Whatever it is, you're just reflecting like a mirror, right? If you're looking in a mirror and it's reflecting back at you, that mirror has no emotion about what's going on. I say this because there's a lot of us, when we start with self-reflection, we immediately go down the rabbit hole of judgment and shame. I shouldn't have done that. What's so wrong with me? I know better than to do that. How did I let this happen? All of that. I do too. So we have to remember in self-reflection, we are a mirror. We are reflecting back, but without emotion. Now, if you get into your self-reflection, and if it's deeper and heavier and nastier than what you thought, and you need help, that's okay. Yet be vulnerable to the fact that there may be more going on than you first realized, and get the help that you need. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean you're a failed leader. That doesn't mean you're a failed human being. It means you're a human being, and that it's okay to be vulnerable and ask for help when you need it. So the first step is self-reflection. How can you do this? You may have a therapist. You may have someone you talk to. You might want to write it down in a journal. You might want to stop and just mentally reflect on it 2 or 3 times throughout the day. You might want to coach, which, again, I'm all for coaching. If athletes and artists do it, there is no reason why we shouldn't. The only thing I would say is make sure you pick the right coach for you, because we are all different and we all need different things from our coaches. And not all coaches are made equal. Good thing, right? Because we're all very different and we all need different things. So isn't it good that there's coaches out there for all of us? But you need to have some kind of outside input, whether that's from yourself through a journal or an audio file or something like that, or whether it's from another person, a mentor, someone who will give you the truth. Either way. Now, if we're doing self-reflection right, that leads to self-awareness. Now, you're not only seeing what you're doing through your own eyes, without emotion, but you're aware of the impact that that has on yourself and other people. In my experience, when people really lack self-awareness, usually because they don't do any self-reflection, they tend to do things to numb any feelings that come up because they don't want to deal with it. And numbing can be a lot of different things. It's not always the food, drugs, sex, alcohol, right? It could be binge watching Netflix until your eyes cross. It can be throwing yourself into your work. You know, the leaders that work 120-hour weeks, they may be trying to not feel something. It's possible. Food, drugs, sex, alcohol does figure into it. There's a lot of leaders that I've seen that instead of practicing self-awareness, end up numbing. Alcohol is quick and easy. It's available. So is food. So is sex. So is gambling. If you've noticed that you're doing stuff like that, or even just really throwing yourself into your partner, or throwing yourself into your kids, or throwing yourself into, doing anything that you can do so that you don't have to feel the feelings, then that's a signal. Something's not right here. We all numb sometimes. It's okay. Sometimes we just need to disconnect a little bit. I've, gone on a Netflix binge for a whole weekend just so I don't have to think about work. It's okay to numb once in a while as long as you try and be relatively healthy about it. It's not okay when you do it all the time so you don't have to feel the feelings at all. That signifies a big problem. So your first step is self-reflection, without self-judgment, without shame, without emotion. Your second step is self-awareness, which is where you actually are starting to be aware of how what you're doing is affecting you and affecting others. And same thing, self-judgment and shame aren't part of this. You're aware of what's going on. Think of it like AI, right? Or the way we think AI might be someday. Because in the beginning, it's collecting data. It's bringing it in, it's pulling it from the web, it's grabbing it from big places to be able to crunch and mimic and do what it needs to do. People have this idea that eventually it will become self-aware. We're not there yet that I know of. Maybe somebody knows something I don't, but we're not at Skynet yet, right? From the Terminator movies, it's not self-aware yet. That's the difference between humans and AI. But if you want to think about the difference between reflection and awareness, that's kind of what it is. After you're aware, after you can understand what's happening, now you can start putting self-empathy in place. You're understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And you can now begin to connect with yourself. Yeah, what I did maybe wasn't the coolest. Maybe I shouldn't have snapped at that person in that meeting for no reason at all, just because they trigger me every time they breathe. Maybe I need to be aware and actually fix this. Maybe as a leader, I need to be aware of how me just scurrying in and out of my office every day without talking to anybody makes others feel unvalued and like they're not bringing anything to the table. Maybe as a director, I need to be aware of the fact when I have that one person that comes and sits in my office every day for hours, it makes everybody else feel kind of left out and neglected and like they are not as cool. I know as a director that person just tends to come in and do that. I wouldn't consider us buddies, but I'm aware of how it looks to everybody else. That awareness component is key to be able to show yourself self-empathy. Yeah, okay, I let that person come into my office and I let them take that much time. But now that I'm aware of it, I can have empathy for myself that I thought I was helping them out, and empathy for my people that this isn't working out very well. The interesting thing about self-empathy is that you have to have it to have empathy for anybody else. But we are far less likely to show empathy for ourselves than we are to show it for other people. Let that sink in for a second. We'll show empathy and grace, on the whole, for other people much quicker than we'll show it for ourselves. If we won't show it for ourselves, how can we show it for other people?